marketing is very close to dating, and dating looks easier because you find a date somehow. Even you don't have a technique, you find a date, you find a soulmate, unless you want to stay single. So how come in marketing we're not able to do that? We find it very difficult to get things going in marketing, whereas in dating it's much easier. So my perspective on this is we don't use a process. Marketing is a process, and dating is also a process. And we don't use that process. And the process is very simple to me. It's pieces of a puzzle you have to put together. So before we go into the process, let's have a discussion about relationships. So relationships, you have business relationships, you have romantic relationships, and basically you have different types of relationships. The first one, I call it a near miss. You know, it's some relationship that never really happened. You had someone, you find someone, you had a few meetings, you put up a proposal, seems promising, and nothing happens. So it's a near miss. No bad bone about it. You were probably not meant for each other. And then you have the quick flings, right? The one night stand. You have someone, they have a need, you have a need, right? Yeah. In dating and in marketing, it's the same thing. So you both agree over a few drinks probably to satisfy this need. And then what happens? The next day, that person is gone, and you have to redo the whole dog and pony show again. And then you have the most meaningful, long-term, loyal relationships. In business, you need those, because a one-night stand can be very fun in real life, but in business, it doesn't. It doesn't. If you want your business to be repeatable, to be sustainable, to be scalable, you need a long-term relationship. You need to build this relationship. So you need to use that process. And then what we see as well is in marketing, a lot of time, this process is not used. So let's go through the process and let's see those pieces of a puzzle which I was talking about. So the first one is define who you want to court. That's the first thing you need to do, define this. And a lot of time as well, when I talk to people, I see they don't really define this properly. You need to define it. One thing which is very fun is we're trying to push products down the throat of people instead of trying to understand their needs and finding who they are. Only Homer Simpson is able to do that. Shoving things down his throat, he will eat everything. Consumers, customers don't do that. You need to be a bit smarter about that. Talking about customers now, you know this guy? It's called the average Joe. I have a bad news for you. That guy doesn't exist. When you want to target people, you have to be specific. You know, these personas that people build are very important. You can't be average Joe. That guy doesn't exist. In French, they say Monsieur Tout le Monde. You know, consommateur lambda. It doesn't happen like that. Who in this room is an average Joe or an average Jane? No hands. Okay? So, because you need to define that. And you need to define your ideal customer. I like to call this ideal customer your red fish, like the one you're really going for to fish. You define it. Now, when you look at it, when you go out to fish, you have a sea, plenty of fish. Your red fish is in there. Now, when you cast your net, what happens? You take a lot of fish in, and some of them are the red ones, some of them are not the red ones. So you can't pick and choose sometimes. When you broadcast, when you advertise, at some point you get customers. Even when you put up a Tinder ad, you know, you're casting your net, and you find that some people that you attract are probably not the one you were targeting. Now, what do you do with these fish? I always say if they're not toxic, keep them, feed on them, even if they're not your red fish. But the thing is, your red fish is the one you want. So what happens today is, when I ask marketers, who's your target? Who's your target customer? You know what they do? They look in the boat, You look at all these fish and say, this is my target. No, this is your sales. This is not your target. Your target is the redfish. So some redfish are in the boat, some redfish are still at sea, so you need to go and pick them. Okay? So that's really focus on the main puzzle to start with. The second one is very important is, okay, where do you find this redfish? Where do you find the people? And one thing I see as well is we see a hole in a market. What do? We jump in. We jump in without asking ourselves a question. Is there a market in the hole? Because sometimes you jump in this hole and you end up in the hole. There's nothing in the hole. There's no consumers there. There's no date there. There's no one waiting for you there. So when you see a hole in the market, please don't jump in. Ask yourself if there's a market in the hole first. The other thing as well I really like to see is this untapped place, white space people call. And we always try to go where people are not because there's too much competition. I like a very good example. This is an oil drilling map. So you see where the heat map is there. It's where all the drilling is happening. A lot of intensity and everyone is drilling there. So we're very afraid to go there and try to fight with those people. And we're like, okay, let's go to where no one is. Much easier. So we go down there. No one is there, or a few guys. So instead of going there, until we find out there's no oil there. There's no freaking oil there. That's why there's no one drilling. Okay? So now you don't have oil, and you don't have a budget anymore. So you just wasted all your resources. So it's very important to not avoid all this competition. Look at the date. Do you go in the desert and to try to find your date? You go to the club, right? So you go to the club, that's where your date is. And what you need to do, work on your dance move. Now, the third one is about making a memorable and authentic first impression. You know the story about first impression. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. You need to define your brand. That's the first thing you need to do to make a first impression. Be it in a date or in the marketing, define your brand. Carl Jung said, if you don't tell the world who you are, the world will tell you who you are. Everyone else will decide who you are if you don't tell the world who you are. So as a brand or as a person, define who you are and tell the world. Otherwise, we'll decide for you. So that's not how brand works. You need to define it. And you need what I call brand power. You need to build brand power. Look at this T-shirt there. For those who are in Mauritius, that sells about 150 rupees here. This other T-shirt commands a 10 times higher price point. That's brand power, as simply put. The minute you saw this, you know what it is. That is brand power, right? Another example of brand power. So you need to build your brand power. Of course, we know those brands. So people ask me, how do you build brand power? I think there's a guy much cleverer than me who defined it very well, Seth Godin. I love this. I always use this. He says, marketing is about creating products worth selling with stories worth telling. Beautifully put. So you need to build your product, build the right product, build the product right, get it to the right people, but especially build your story. You need to build your story around it. It's very important. So this story is a key thing. That's how you build brand power. And then I was talking about authenticity. So the story you build is very important. In dating, it happens a lot. People lie, right? People lie about first of all, their profile pictures 5 to 20 years old, most of the time. You find out when you meet the person, oh, is it you? So people lie. And in marketing, it's the same thing. People lie a lot. People lie a lot. So you need to be authentic. You need to really get your message, and it should be authentic. You need to, what I call, romance the product truth. You have a product truth, you need to romance it. Otherwise, what I call, instead of romance, you'll get up in fomance. You'll be in a relationship where it started fake. Don't fake it till you make it. You'll get caught. You'll get caught. In dating, it's pretty clear, right? On the first date, most of the time. In marketing, it's the same thing. Now, next step, next puzzle, is about communicating wisely. So once you have your target, you have your product, you build your story, you need to broadcast it. You need to talk. And you shouldn't talk about yourself all the time. You should talk about the other person. Who's been on a date where the person only talks about them? How great they are. You just want to run. Someone, please get me out of here. You sip your coffee or whatever you're drinking and you say, okay, thank you very much. Got your number, we'll catch up, right? And you disappear. And companies are very good at this, very, very good at this, about talking loudly. Look at what companies are saying. Just imagine this in a date. We are the biggest fridge manufacturer in the whole southern hemisphere. We are the pioneering whatever. We produce the biggest apples on the market. Okay? That's what companies do. So imagine this in dating. No, we don't do this in marketing. We don't do this in dating either. And then, once you have this message across, you need to broadcast it. You need to communicate wisely. And what I see is what I call spray and pray. I have a very good example. You know that guy with machine gun? It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. The movie Predator, for those who have seen it, the beast is hiding in the forest, the predator. So what Arnie and his team are doing, they spray the forest with bullets to make sure the beast is dead. Once they've done this, they walk into the forest with visible apprehension and try to find out, is the beast dead? In marketing, in real life, you can't do this. Okay? You can't do this in real life. You don't have the ammunition to do this. So don't spray and pray. Go straight to the point, target, walk into the forest, and find the beast and nail it. Be persistent as well, but not pushy. Same thing in dating, same thing in marketing. Once you start, most of the time it will be very difficult. You will not find results at the beginning. You will get frustrated. You will not get the result. You're spinning your wheels and you're spending your money on dating, on advertising, on makeup, on whatever, right? And you don't get the results. But you have to be persistent and consistent. That's very important. But don't be pushy. There's a difference in this. Graham Robertson said with Beloved Brand that there's a road to become a beloved brand. So there's a whole road to go through. From being an unknown brand to a liked brand and then to a beloved brand. It takes a lot of good strategy, hard work, and flawless execution to get there. So you need to be persistent. Finally, I think this one doesn't need any explanation from me. The last piece of the puzzle, be it in love, be it in marketing, deliver the goods. Thank you.